ụlọ nsọ gị Chukwu ka ị na-abata, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Anya bịawa ịsọpụrụ gị ugbu a, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Chukwu nna n'ụlọ gị ka ị na-akpọ gị, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Otito na-adịrị gị mgbe niile, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya.
Chineke ọbasi dị elu Chukwu obiọma Chidi ebere Olisa nwa amara ka ụzọ anyị ọbụla niile bụrụ ihe, ka ihe niile a kpatara aka bụrụ sọ mma, ka ụwa niile site n'ozi ọma anyị a ụzọ obi aṅụrị taa na ebighị ọfọ Yagazie ise. All praises to Chi the Creator, the Supreme Being, Chi the good, Chi the merciful, Chi the magnificent with grace. Let every way of our lives be light. Let all our acts be crowned with good. May the world prosper from our ministry, now and forever. So let it be. Amen.
And so it is.
Yes,
and
yes,
so
yes.
It is. Mama, oh, Mama Yudi. I'm good. I know you're not feeling your best today, but thank you for that wonderful prayer. Thank you, Chineke, for this wonderful opportunity that we've been given. Today is the prize.
Yeah,
no matter what it is.
It's a good day, so
today is the gift. Today is the gift. We have a powerful gift today. So welcome to Chiism Live. I'm your host, KDB Ochoaja, Dr. Wonyo Hosimiri, and you just heard from my co-host, Dibia Yudi Onyoha. The last event that we had was exciting. ULTRA, Interfaith Conference, held in Snellville, Georgia. It was phenomenal. The video of that event is going to be on chiism.org. So if you want to see it, if you didn't get a chance to see it last time, you get a chance to see it on chiism.org. And then we're all going to also have the individual lectures, if you will, by the different religious leaders. It was wonderful. You know, I think that the speeches, and you would agree with me, the speeches by the different religious leaders were informative and certainly gave us hope that in the future we'll have more collaborative dialogue for peace. It was just wonderful.
You just felt a lot of, after the whole event, there was this feeling of hope.
Yes.
Perhaps it's possible that we can all truly, like Rodney King said,
yes, we can get along. And we must.
Yeah,
we must.
It's a decision. You know? And most of all, and I have to really commend you, it's about courage and having the courage to organize such an event. You know, yes. On your behalf and also on behalf of Global Faith Ministries of Chiism, Guardianism, Chiism International. You know,
yes.
So I just want to throw that in there. It takes a lot of courage, and it took a lot of courage for the participants to show up there, irrespective of any outside opinion as to what they're doing in our event. And for them to show up there and make everybody feel, each participant made everybody feel a sense of hope that perhaps it really is possible that we can all come together with Chineke in the center of our thinking, you know, and be able to appreciate one another, not just tolerate, as you had explained to us about, tolerating things, but to actually appreciate.
Appreciate,
and when I say appreciate, is understanding that the diversity that we see building around us is divine, and we should really respect that.
Yeah, and it was just wonderful to see our commonalities.
Yeah.
All these speeches showed, wow, we really all we share this, the values are the same thing. The spiritual values, the personal values, and whatever. So it was really nice, and I'm certainly not. The good news is that a lot of them have contacted me to say, "Hey, we've got to do it again," and so we're going to do it every quarter, and then eventually we're going to have every year we'll have the big one, incorporating more religions. So it's wonderful. That's Ahai's dream.
Yes.
Ahai's dream was that the world will come together at some point and see that diversity is the gift.
I just want to say something, and it's just that it's not a juxtaposition or anything, or it's just like switching places, for example, about coming together. And for some reason, if you look at the political climate globally, not just in the United States, but globally, there seems to be this coming together, or at least a level of epiphany, right?
Yes.
Even in this country, for everybody to say, wait a minute, we have been fed this story that there's a difference between all of us, when there really isn't, because we all have the same, dreams and wishes for our children, our family, our nation, our country. We have the same dreams, and all we need to do is just understand one spiritual concept, and that concept is the concept of exclusive truth, my way or the highway. And I think what we did, what you organized, what we did in Global Fit Ministry is to let people understand that the idea of exclusive truth is what really causing the rumpling social harmony.
That's right. That's right.
The exclusive truth rumples social harmony. So by hopefully having such events quarterly and continuing to expand upon this, hey, like we discussed before, you're looking at, it's almost like the first stack of religions.
Yes.
Yes. Of all religions.
It's just going to get bigger and better. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not subscribed to Chiism Live on YouTube, please do so. Your support helps us to continue to bring this wonderful program to you. Today is an important segment, and it has to do with this profound significance, of names within the Igbo Nigerian culture. And I'm just going to play this. Yes, African names have a purpose. I just played that video to just give snippets of the little aspects of the importance of giving our children the right names. They're not merely labels. They carry power and purpose, influencing the lives of the individuals. You know that, how our names, the names that our parents have given us, have really, quite frankly, shaped, our lives. And we all strive to achieve, the names that we're given. My full name is not Owa, just Owa. It's Owa Noakwa. Owa Noakwa. The world doesn't listen to people who whine, so go out there and make a difference. And all my life, that's my modus operandi. I have to make a difference. Nobody cares about my whining. Nobody cares about my struggles. I have to go out there and make a difference. That is my role, my charge. That's my name. Udemezwe. That when they gave their wishes, their aspiration, their expectation for the family is complete because you came into this world. And that has been driving you as well. And that's pretty much how we name our children, how I named all my kids, knowing that the names I've given them is going to influence their lives. I just didn't give it because it sounds cute. People give their children names that sound cute. Sparrow, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, you can learn the way that some of our people name their children. You can learn the names of the week through the names of the people. But it's supposed to serve a whole lot more. It is crucial for parents to approach the naming of their children with thoughtfulness and intention. That's the word right there, intention. In Igbo culture, a name can shape identity. It can shape our expectations, leading the individuals to live up to those meanings that is embedded in their names. If your name is Mwadike, okay, what do you think that does to a child? You're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be powerful. Or Mwadike, if you have a child, that means you're a powerful person. You've succeeded. That sort of thing. There's a reason for all these names. Now, unfortunately. Yeah, just a minute. Unfortunately, many people are choosing these names without considering their significance, and that's what we want to talk about. And sometimes it's religious means or whims, or for personal emotional reasons, and that overshadows, for the most part, the importance of the child's cultural identity. So it does have lasting implications on a child's sense of self and belonging. So we got to be very, very careful. UD, you were going to say something before I bring Professor.
I just pointed out the same thing that you were talking about, in terms of, how you say, your identity, where you come from, your lineage, your cultural lineage, right? The names identify you immediately. If I say, hey, my name is Udemezwe, any Igbo person that hears that automatically knows that we are from the same area, right? Same thing with Chinese names. When you hear one, you know it's Chinese. If you hear one and his name is Max Wilson, right? You will automatically associate that person as being Caucasian or something.
Yes.
And then he turns around to be a Chinese person. So we've all been fooled, and that person deny themselves who they are, change their name to something else because they needed to get acceptance in somebody else's backyard to be able to survive. So you see a lot of people, jettisoning their cultural identity, which normally is established not by your skin color, but by your name and religion.
Yes.
And you just negate that and say, oh, that's not important. I just need to be in this part of the world and change my identity so they can accept me. And what happens to your culture, your lineage, your history? Everything dies with you once you have
that very true. That's what Dibia Chiadozie is going to focus on, and then we can vibe in and ask him as much questions as we want. So it is indeed a privilege to have a lecture from Dibia. Professor Chiadozie Okoro, the chair of the Department of African History at Chies Mahadum University. Now, Professor Okoro has been featured recently in notable publications, including the Sun Times newspaper in Nigeria. And he was discussing this very topic of child naming and its cultural relevance. So I ask all of you who join us today to stay tuned as we uncover the wisdom and traditions behind Igbo names and discover how these names continue to play a vital role in shaping our personal and collective identity. So on that note, I bring in the chief himself. Oyeze. Welcome, welcome.
I can't go.
Yes, yes, he say.
Nahike na hudo.
He say.
We got the same kind of hat on. See,
yes.
We're representing today.
Yes. So, Divya Chiodozie, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Your presentations are very informative and very academic, so to speak, and certainly very spiritual. So you see what the topic of today is. I just want to ask you, what are some of the most common themes or meanings that you found in Igbo names as you did your research?
Well, a people give names according to their understanding of the cosmos, the environment in which they live, and human personality, such that for us as Igbo people, we do not see that human beings are alone in the world. We understand that the universe is a creation of an intelligent being. Whether by pantheism, you say this being, the intelligence is part and parcel of the cosmos, it's not outside it. But the belief there is that there is a super force, a universal consciousness that drives the universe. And this consciousness, super consciousness, manifests itself in signs of this physical environment. So, and the physical environment, it's not just physical, it is both physical and psychic, physical and spiritual. And the constitution of the environment happens to be the constitution of everything that located within the environment, both plants and animals. So for us, when we look at a thing, anything, we are not just looking at a physical entity. We are looking at an entity the way it came out from the spiritual world, because we believe that the unseen is the anchor of the seen, which is why we believe that death means disappearing from the physical into the non-physical, and birth means moving from the non-physical to the physical, and they are both interrelated. Now, the human being is the one endowed with all the rational, emotional, imaginative, and diversity of intelligence to ascribe meaning, to first and foremost understand the ordinance of the universe, the environment, in harmony with human existence, human nature, human personality. And so every name that was given from this understanding. And it was given to give meaning, significance to things, because naming is not just sound for us. We should realize that we are civilizations of great imagination. And imagination functions by symbols
and symbolisms. So names are not just branding. They carry a lot of symbols and symbolisms. They are loaded. They are meaning loaded. Loaded within our ontology, our cosmology, and cosmogony. The ontology is about the structure of a thing. The cosmology is about the origin. And then the cosmogony is about the relationality of a thing to others. So if you look at our name, the names we give, they are not ordinary. They invoke mannerisms, characteristics, structure, essence of what things are and how they appear. So we are not alone in this. Other Africans and great civilizations are into this. For instance, if you go to Confucianism, you see that every name has meaning. According to Confucian Taoism, every name has meaning. And so the name Onyo Ochichi, leader, it has a name. So you must behave by the essence of that name. So we don't give names just for sound. We give names to direct structure and a person's character, mold person's character, person's behavior, so that there will be harmony in the society. That's the whole essence of giving name for us. And to also inspire the individual to follow the communalistic life, knowing that I am not alone in the world. Ofonogu, what our people in South Africa or South Africa will call Ubuntu. Ofonogu, and what the Yorubas will call Watunwosi. That's the ability to measure by the right, measure by the left, to the middle point of temperance, of moderation. And so every name that we give is meant to invoke essence, significance, direction, mold character, direct habit, guide one's attitude, and at the end of the day, mold one's personal personality, one's personality. That's the whole essence of giving name for us.
Yeah. Well, can you name some specific names? I think you've given us some. Do you have any more that any names that you can say reflects cultural heritage and history?
Well, if I begin here, I don't know where to begin because there are so many. In the first instance, first instance, if you look at our understanding of the world, what the Igbo say is that the almighty force, Chukwu Okike, Abiama, Chiuku, the ubiquitous, and that Chi-Chu is like Chiobobo. It's like light coming into darkness, because what it really means is that in the absence of Chi, in the absence of God, Chukwu, there is darkness. So Chukwu coming into being means unfolding of light, unfolding of illumination. And the unfolding of light, the unfolding of illumination means instructing order into disorder, instructing form into formlessness, because darkness represents formlessness, light represents form. Things begin to take form, begin to take shape. Now, Abiama is wisdom. Okike is configuration. Configuration. That's why for those who say they don't believe in God, but at least they believe in order. They believe in reason. So whether you believe in cosmos, or you believe in God, or you believe in Chukwu, you are saying the same thing. So we can have a religious or spiritual sense of God, and a secular, non-religious sense of God. So if you're an atheist, you believe in order. Insofar as you believe in order, You believe in God. Because that's what God is. That's what Chukwu means. Now, manifesting itself into reality means it did so in the physical realm, according to Igbo, in 4 categories. Eke, water. Ori, wind. Eke, water and all things in liquid state. Ori, wind and all things in the gaseous state. Afo, earth, like the word afo. That's why it's a container for Eke. That's why Eke and Afo go together, because water takes the shape of its container. So Afo is a container, Eke is the contained. And that's why Ane and Mmiri go hand in hand. Why Ori and Nkwo, air and fire go hand in hand. And so then Nkwo, fire. So when you follow these 4 are what Igbo say constitute the physical reality. And to give them efficacy, we now say they constitute the primordial 4 market days, which is why the Igbo will say, Ubochi duana, now say Ubochi de asa. And what the Igbo mean is to say the 4 visible things we see that affect us by way of feeling, mmetuta ahụ, by the 5 senses. The 4 things we see are Eke, Orie, and Nkwo, Afon Nkwo. Then it will went ahead to say each of these 4 are governed by 3 invisible primordial forces. Eke, Agunachi. And so we have names that be like from Eke. You have Eke Jiuba. Eke Jiuba. That's Eke holds wealth. If you know that in the first instance, Eke is female, and female is Ako. And so, and it's Eke that attracts the Chi. And the Chi and the Eke working together brings about the Agu. And so you'll find Eke Jiuba, Eke Oma. From Agu, you have Nwagu, Iwagu. From Chi, you have several names. Chidebere, Chikadibia, Chidera, Chizoba, Munachimso, Chioma. So you see that it is going to the core of creation, the core of formation, the core of Okike. That's spirituality. Then if you come to the 4 market days, the 4 market days are divided into, it's a duality. Eke has male and female. Ekuku, Ekenta. So that means the same thing with the 4 primordial days. Oriuku, Orienta. Afuku, Afonta. Nkuku, Nkonta. The Uku is female and it's in the spiritual realm. The Unta is female and is the Uku is male, rather. The Uku is male, is in the spiritual realm. The Unta, that's the small, is female and it's in the physical realm. Incidentally, if the Igbo will count, they don't start counting from Uku, they start counting from Unta, because it is the physical realm that brings about things into the visible. Just like the woman brings birth. The woman is the one that gets pregnant and gives birth. So if we count, it will count from Unta to Uku. We don't count from Uku to Unta. All right? So, but the significance here is that if you come to Eke, for instance, you have male names that take from Eke, like Nweke, Okeke. That's for male. Female, Mboeke, Adeke. If you come to Ori, male, Nwori, Nwoye, Okori, Okoye. Female, Orioma, Adori, Mbori. You come to Afo, male, you have Afocha, Ahocha, Okorocha, Okorafo, Nwafo, Nwaho, and so on and so forth. Female, Mgbafo, Adafo. You come to Nkwo, you have Okoronkwo, Okonkwo, female, Mbokwa, Mbonkwo. So you see that the Igbo do not just name our children Monday, Friday, Saturday. No. When we say the name Mbokwa, we are talking about primordiality of the Nkwo factor, the factor of fire, element of fire. So we are looking at the elements. It is for the primordiality of our cosmology, our ontology, Ntoala, our cosmology, Ordinala, and our cosmogony, Omenala. So those are the things we are looking at. Now, when you move from there, God himself, Chukwu, you have Chukwu Kere, you have Chukwu Ebuka, you have Ebube Chukwu, and so on and so forth. Then coming to human being itself, human being, you have Madu Eke, Madu Abuchi, Madu Duko. That's talking about the whole essence of what it means to be human being. Madu Eke, meaning that the human being is not a creator. So like my father, his name is Madu Eke Chukwu Kere. God is not the creator. Chukwu is the creator. You also have Maduduko, that is to say, Eshibo Maduduko, and so on and so forth. Then you come to law, rules, destiny. You have Iwu Chukwu, Iwu Agwo, and so on and so forth. Events, circumstances, life experiences, incidents of peace, crisis, and so forth. You have Adibeme, you have Adimebua, Somadina, Ahamefula, Ogugwa, Chimamandalata, Ikemefuna, Udoka, Udemezue, Uzezie, Ezinne, Nneka, Nnamdi, Mesoma, Chizoba, Chigozie, Chiagozie, Chiedozie, Chidozie, and so on and so forth. You come to principles of justice, equity, truth, Ofo, Ogu, Naalo. You have Ogugwa, you have Ejiofo, Ejiogu, Nwogu, Ogu Amanam, Oguzie, Ofodile, Ofodire, Nwaru, Arusi, and so on and so forth. Beauty, Mma, Adamma, Orioma, Oremma, Oledo, firstborn, Okpara, Okpala, Adam, Adora, Adobe, so on and so forth. Humility, Udokamma, Ejikeme, Chidebere, Eberechi, greatness, glory, Oji, Aguiyi, Ugo, Ugochukwu, Ago, so on and so forth. We can go on and on and on and on, and so on and so forth. But I break a bar.
That is wonderful. You know, one of the things we can't hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
He has
to unmute himself. He just unmuted himself.
Unmute yourself.
You know, while you were gone, I was on mute and I totally forgot.
I want to apologize. My laptop decided in the middle of this taping to restart. Can you imagine that? So you can imagine what that does. Well, anyway, wonderful names. You know, you mentioned this before. One of the things I love about the names that we give our children is how we can use it to identify who we are, you know, where we are. You know, somebody will ask me, oh, do you know Kofi? You know, I said, that's not Nigerian. That's Ghanaian. That's a Ghanaian. So, okay. But they will ask me, they give me the name of a Yoruba name. I say, well, I don't know. I'm Igbo. But if you tell me Chukwuemeka, I know, that's an Igbo person. Or Ngozi, that's Igbo, you know. So it does help us identify where we're from. You know, that was very, very significant, you know. And, you know, one of the things that I love about the movie Roots is that very important point. You know, when they were in the ship and they were calling out names, and everybody could identify, I'm from this tribe, I'm from this tribe, I'm from this tribe, based on the name. So it's so important for us. I'm not saying that everybody should give their child an Igbo name, certainly not. But the point of the matter is that the name is so significant. You know, it really carries over. It really forces us to act. No, it doesn't force us, but it does encourage us to conduct ourselves in a certain manner. So, Dibia Chedozie, let me ask you this particular question. Your name, Chedozie, can you explain to us? I know what it is. UD knows what it is. But can you share with our audience the importance of your name?
Yeah, usually most people, when they spell my name, they leave out the E, the E, they spell Chidozie. And I tell them, Chidozie is that you are hoping it will be good. Chiedozie is already good, already blessed. So once upon a time, when I was crazy about Christianity and I was curious, I wanted to know what it means. It meant to be baptized and belong to the member of the Eucharist and also get confirmed. So I was doing my catechism. And then I had to choose. My parents did not give me the name Benjamin. I took up the name Benjamin myself because of I just wanted to be like others. My father gave my older brother, he gave him Kenneth. He gave my younger brother Peter. He never gave, each time I asked him to give me a Christian name, he would be dilly-dallying. I didn't know something was wrong. It was later I discovered. It wasn't him, it was my destiny. But I picked up the name for Benjamin for baptism. And then the Reverend Father then, Father Skylas, he was then 78 years old. That was 1988, 89. And he now asked me, what name am I choosing for baptism? And I said, Benjamin. He now said, don't I have a native name? I said, I do. He said, what's my native name? I said, Chiedozie. He said, what does it mean? I said, providence. That's how I translated it. Providence, child of destiny. And that's what I am. Then Father Skylas now asks me, isn't that more significant and beautiful than any name in the Bible? Then I was looking, what's the man saying? That was 1989. He told me, he said, child, the way I'm looking at you, in 5 years' time, there'll be a revolution in you. And you will be rejecting this Benjamin. But by then, it will become too late for you. It will have entered your record. And that's what happened. By 1994, which was exactly 5 years from 1989, that was when I completely denounced Christianity. And from then on, I never looked back. However, I had in my certificate, both BA, MA, back account, and all of my documents, Benjamin had entered. So it became difficult for me to remove Benjamin. So I now saw this, my stupidity. It's my own stupidity. I gave myself that name. All right. But why I don't regret it much is that I was also guided by my chi to also choose a name close to Chiedozie, because Benjamin means son of my right hand, the favored one, a child of light, which is also another version of Chiedozie. And so I've always discovered that whatever happened in my life, I can't run more than my chi.
No.
Whatever happens in my life, for good or for bad,
yes,
it's already been planned out the way it is. And
yes.
I've also come to realize that there is nothing I put my mind to and pray over patiently, working at it, that I don't get.
Yeah.
So that's my mother made me to realize that and said, this is why your father gave you this name. He gave you this name because by the time you were born during Civil War, it was a time Enugu was a Port Harcourt, or was it Port Harcourt, the Enugu fell? I think I was born in Port Harcourt. He said, and people were escaping. He said, miraculously, your father was able to get a lorry to move the whole family to the village. So bombs were falling, people were dying, but none touched the vehicle until they got to the village. So
Mm-hmm.
with that, they believe everything was God's plan. And it was like that. So that's the reason we gave you that name. So she always told me, anything you want, you will get. But learn humility, learn temperance, and always believe in your chi. Don't look to other people and envy them. Look to them so that you can be a better human being. I think that's how I come to understand the name Chiedozie.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yudi Onyoha. That's your name. What is Onyoha? I know what it is, but you talk about it.
You talking about me?
Yes, Onyoha.
Oh, Onyoha. See, that's not the original name. The original name is Kama Ono Kama. Right? Onyoha. I took that up. The people, in other words, you are so far removed from everybody else, you are beyond understanding what they can touch. As a matter of fact, his title, Ahai, the only person to ever hold that title simply means in Mpuru. If somebody says, Obwahai Mpuru, has the impossible happened? Has the world exploded? Have we grown horns? In other words, think about something that is pretty much impossible. Has it happened? That's Ahai's title. And the only person to ever take up that title in Mpuru till he died. So, you're too elevated to be messed with. No matter what they do, they can't get to you. How you say, you can't touch this? Remember that?
Yes.
You can't touch this.
Yeah. So based on that, and dad, my father is, once you say on your hand, they know who you're talking about, because of his he was led by his name and title to do great things. Now, I want to ask you, as you continue to explore this topic. Somebody's can you hear the noise in the background?
Yeah.
Who's that? Is that one of us?
I don't think, well, not me.
Okay. I think it was coming from Dibia Chedozie. Based on Udemezwe, before I ask Dibia Chedozie to continue, there's a question here. What is Udemezwe?
That name really came about when our parents had Obi. Then they had Ngozi. Then they had Inebu. And then they had Ono, my brother. They got all these girls, but no boys. So they had Ono. Then they had another child. They're looking for a boy. They had Okedibia, Dr. O. Then I had my sister, Ihoma, another girl, only one boy. And then here I come. The dream is complete. Udemezwe, what we're looking for, we got it now. Here's Johnny. That's the one that you were looking for, the one that completed you. You complete me. Dream prayers have been answered. Udemezwe. Yeah. And I love that name. And as a matter of fact, just like Chia just said, and you're already aware of it, I live my name by that. It makes me feel like I completed my parents, like I was wanted.
You weren't adopted. Well, there's nothing wrong with adoption. Let's not misunderstand.
Yeah, but it was something like that. That's how I feel. And then coupled with the last name Onyoha, it just made me feel. I felt good.
Here's the thing.
Legacy.
They had a desire
for
the family to be complete.
Yep.
there was no issue having girls, because the girls they have today are all fantastic women. I mean, the women in my family are phenomenal. So that wasn't their issue. Their issue was, we have to level the playing field. It's good to have my girls, but where are my boys? I need to have the boys as well. So
if something happened to the older brother, then there is nobody. There's no other guy, right?
Yeah. So yeah.
By me coming, it's like that issue, that concern has also been taken care of.
But you see, this is the significance. This is the significance of naming our children. We're naming them based on concrete reasons, not just because it sounds good. Some people just name their kids Rugrat, and what does that mean? Listen, people name their children Banana. Mr. Banana. What is that? All sorts of things. But the thoughtfulness that we use. Obiajolum, for instance, the first daughter, Obiajolum. I've been looking for a child, and here I finally have my child, Obiajolum. Now I'm calm. And then for Obiajolum, that means also a person in the family that brings the temperature down. And that's what my sister is. That governs the way she acts, right? Whenever there's discord in the family, when she steps in, her role is to bring the temperature down. She's the peacemaker, Obiajolum. That's what she is, etc., etc. But yes, Yudi, we're glad you're here. I hate you sometimes. But the kind of hatred brothers and sisters have, and then we turn around and love each other again. But yeah, Yudi has been a wonderful brother, and I'm so glad they brought you into this world. But Dibia Chedoze, so based on what we're just talking about, what advice do you have for young parents who are, just got married and anticipating having children, or maybe are expecting children already? What do you tell them? What must they focus on before naming a child? There's a star that just named their child. What was the name of this child?
Beyonce's children is another example of just.
There's a star. I can't think of her name right now, and the name that was given to the child, I'm not sure what they were thinking. I think it just sounded cute. It was just cute, and it was not ordinary. But nobody else has that name. I can't think of that name right now, and I don't want to embarrass her. So even if I thought about the name, I'm not going to say it. But the point of the matter is that as I looked at the name, I asked myself, what were you thinking when you gave this child this name? What is that supposed to mean? And you're a Black person. It's crazy. Yeah, can you imagine? So, Dibia Chedozie, what advice would you give expectant parents before they name their child? Please.
Yeah, I was raising my hand. I will answer that question, but I have another question, please. I wanted Dibia Chedozie to clarify. Yeah, now we know what Onyaoha means. Please, can you explain to us Onyuke?
Okay, 8th grade.
Okay, all right, that's good. Now, when the dilemma that the African modern and contemporary parents are faced with, I went through it because I was making my journey from Christianity into the African spirituality, and I made it first gradually, first on the back of Pan-African movement of Nigeria, PAMON, then Pan-Africanism, before I started inching into Igbo spirituality in 2009. So the journey into Pan-Africanism started in 1994. Then I started moving into spirituality from 2009. Then my first child came 2002. So you see that I had a child before I actually started inching my way into spirituality. That was like 7 years after I had my first child, and 4 years after I had my second child. However, I did not make the mistake of giving my children names that are not Igbo. I was conscious of the fact that I will not make the mistake that I made in my own circumstance, that I ran before my chi and gave myself English name. So I wasn't going to make that mistake about my children. And so, yes, I had a woman who promised she would support me, but when we married, she was pulling me the other way to join Christianity, and I was focused on where I was going. So she will bring English name, and I will ask her, you know what you're going to do for me? Ne, Mama, Mama, you know what you do for me? She said, no. I said, that name you brought that is English, go and look for the Igbo equivalence. The Igbo equivalent. When you get the Igbo equivalent, come and tell me. Then we name the child that name. So, but my name for this child is Uzezie. The path is through. The path is straight for this child, for the family. It's Uzezie. So which name? She said she wants to name the child the glory of God. I said, go and find out the meaning in Igbo. Say Ugochukwu. I said, okay, give him Ugochukwu. That's your name for him. So the second child, because I know this time around I will not agree. The child must have English name. I said, okay, what's the English name? My name for this child is Ezinne. Neoma. That's my name for her. You, what name do you want to give her? I said, Stella, Precious. I said, what is Stella, Precious in Igbo? Find that out. So she went and returned after 2 weeks with a name, Oleido. I said, name her Oleido. And so the third child, it came this time around. She already knew the politics. So she herself is the one that chose the name Munachimso. Chioma. I said, okay, so you have claimed both first and second name from you. So this child is born on Ori. But that I started my journey to spirituality. So this is the first child that will bear the mark of spirituality. So I called her Orioma, since she was born on Ori Day. So the drama in all of this is that first and foremost, we must be awake to who we are. I was able to pull this off because I'm aware and I'm searching. I'm aware of who I am, and I was searching for my roots. I realized that one who does not understand his or her spirituality, his or her culture, is an orphan.
Yes, and hold that thought, because somebody asked a question and I want you to answer her. It's definitely what you're talking about. This is Akachineke. She says, what would you say to my Igbo peers who think their Christian name is better or preferred? They think it's easier to navigate life with a European name. Talk to her about that.
Well, this particular question reminds me of an incident that happened in 2014 in Pretoria, South Africa, when we went there for, was it a 2 weeks conference? And my younger one that I went with, related to my wife, Ikechukwu Zoma, he has an English name, Kingsley. And so he gave his children English names, David and Daniel. The English name is their first name. And so there's this man from Australia, a white man from Australia. He was looking to push his ideas across Africa. And He asked for our names. I gave my Igbo name. He said, don't I have English name? I said, I don't have English name. Learn how to call my Igbo name.
Hello.
And then Uzoma, to get close to the man, said he has English name. He can call him Kingsley. He must say, oh, Kingsley, yes. I said, and I told her, I said, Kingsley, so that you are the good person and the bad person. So he doesn't know how to call Chi. He says, okay, call Dozier. Do you know Dozier or Chi? Just call me Big Chi, or call me Chi, or call me Dozier, or a Dozier. He said, okay, a Dozier, but Chi, a Dozier, he cannot say. So Kingsley asked me, but why am I insisting on my Igbo-ness? I said, I'm insisting because my fathers were forced to change their tongue at old age. And today, you want me to continue in that slavery. And then I told him of experience of an Ijebu man, Ijebu chief. That was about 20 or 30 years ago. I think 20 years ago. This man was illiterate, but educated. And he was an international businessman. So when he was doing, was it his 79th birthday, his white business partners came, and one of them spoke smartly Yoruba, and people were clapping. And when it was the turn of the man to speak, the man said that it was better the white man never spoke his language, that he spoke his language and gave it another meaning. He spoiled it. He was angry. He said, he told the white man, you said you are literate. You read books. You are wise. Yet you could not pronounce any word in my language correctly. And even my name, you spoiled it. And I that never went to school, a complete illiterate, stark illiterate, up to the age of 79, he cannot write, he cannot read, but that he could communicate with them and spoke their languages and called their names impeccably. That the pain that he took to learn their own ways, the dedication that he put into making sure he understood them, they should also do that for him. That is equity.
Respect.
That is equity. So that the white man has a superior ego. He wants you, he says he cannot understand African names, but they pronounce Indian names correctly, Chinese names correctly, Japanese names correctly. You and I know that Indian names are tongue twisting. And they pronounce Indian names correctly. Indian names are sentences. And they pretend as if they don't have culture. Even they themselves have their culture. Like somebody who was in Italy, who lived in Italy, told me that her landlord is called Mr. something. I don't know, but it's a butcher. The name in Italian means butcher. That's what it means. So they have their own traditional names. So it is not the question of that they cannot pronounce our names. It's a question that they see us as inferior. And people who don't have to be understood. They want to give us the name and pronounce the words the way it's convenient for them. And we follow them in behaving foolishly.
Yes.
Like the name Badagry. It's not Badagry, it's Abadagri, something like that. So that's how they have managed to alter all names. Like there's this Igbo, a lot of Igbo names that they have gerrymandered and even different meanings. And we stupidly follow them.
Yes.
They will not take it lightly if you do that same thing to them. They will take it lightly. They will correct you several times. In those colonial times, before this, they will use Cain, like the issue of the Kunta Kunte. Your name is Toby.
Yeah.
No, I am Tinta Kunte. You say your name is, after flogging the guy several times, maybe after the 1,000 time and 1,100 time, the man said, I am Toby.
Yeah.
That's the mentality.
That's
We must get that.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know this, power is a power of my autonomy, who I am. My autonomy as an individual African. I must, and the autonomy is no autonomy if I don't understand it within my cultural confine.
Yes.
Because a tree does not make a forest. No atom stands alone in the whole cosmic structure. Every atom is cultured within its own nomenclature. We must know this and educate our people, just like we are doing right now, so that they will know this power and tap into it.
That's wonderful. And you know, if I may add my own 2 cents to that, to the question that Akachi asked. You know, UD always repeats this that I say all the time. The most powerful tool in the hands of an oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Not your car, not your house, not your money, your mind. Somebody can conquer you by conquering your mind. They don't even have to shoot a bullet. They can conquer you by conquering your mind. When you've been convinced that something about you is not good enough, you fight to embrace something else introduced to you. And then you fight against that which represents you. For these young people who think that they must represent, their names must be English, it's the fact that their mind has been twisted. You know, a tool is something that you use to build something or to break something. So giving our children names that are foreign to them is a tool that's used to capture their minds. It creates a sense of inferiority complex. It makes them think they're not good enough. Even some of them are convinced that you're not getting a job because of your name. Some people change their name so they'll get a job. J-O-B, just over broke. Somebody's job, not your own. You don't feel you should create a job. You have to get someone else's job, and to do someone else's job, you have to answer their name, the name they give you, not the name your fathers gave you, not the name your mothers gave you, the one they gave you. And you argue with somebody who has an African name. Aka Chineke, her name is Aka Chineke. Do you know how powerful that is? What if her name was Elaine? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Elaine. How does Elaine compare with Aka Chineke? Udemezwe, Ngozi, Adonha, Namdi, Amoha, Ikenna. These are names I gave my family. How does that compare to those names? Akachineke is, I am in the hands of the Most High. Right where I am, you did not be so.
That's true.
Chineke is, I'm right here. The arms of God engulfs me. Who are you? It's an attitude. It creates a different kind of attitude. You can't tell me who I am. I already know of whom I belong to. But they take that from you and they give you all these names. Not only did they change your religion, they change your name. You have streets in Africa named after Europeans. Streets. Johnson Street in the middle of Umuahia. Stevens Road. We don't have African names we can give, or I suppose I don't know. I suppose they are giving those names, naming those street names again in honor of some African who has done something exceptional. But then it's still an English name. How many of our people here, how many Europeans are running around here naming their children Chinedu? Chidu maybe. Mona Chimso. Chizoba. How many Europeans are doing that? You know why they don't do that? Because it's not a vision they have for their children to emulate anything about you. They were happy teaching their children to be who they are and telling yours to be who they are. If you want a job in my company, you've got to be James. You got to be Johnson. You got to be Ruby. Well, to some degree, I suppose that works. But the mindset of our children must be, and it's based on what you give them, based on the names you give them. This is your heritage. You don't drop that for nothing, not for no job. If you don't get a job with your name, Chidimebi, then don't get that job. Create your own if you have to. You know, in this country, many women, many Americans have lost their jobs because the majority of them work for the federal government. But I tell you, Yudi, it hasn't shaken them at all. Yes, they would like to keep these jobs, but a lot of them have started their own businesses. A lot of them have become aware that I need to create something for me that nobody can take from me. When somebody takes your name, they've taken all that you are. You don't give it up because you want to get a few dollars from them, whoever them is. Your name is given to you for a purpose, for identity, for your culture, to represent all that your family's desires for you. And in anticipation, that will be the same desire you have. Even your second name, people say, oh, I'll give my child an Igbo name, but I'll give him an English name, a Middle English name. What is that about? A child may select the English name over the first name you give them. But if they don't have a choice, if they don't like the first name, they can take the second name, but it has to be Igbo or Yoruba or Hausa or whatever. So the idea of what Akachi has asked is she is around her peers who are consumed with the fact that they want to belong, not to their community, but to the community they are anxious to be a part of. Am I right? UD, take that away. Add your comments, UD, to that one. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
He has to unmute.
I got some noise, so I had to, mute myself so that I don't get all this background noise from all my boys in the house, Yeah, here we come. Yeah, there was something that I wanted to read to buttress what you were talking about and also what Dibia Chiadozie was talking about. I'm a little slow because I haven't hit it, so y'all bear with me. And it is the foundation of all world spirituality. Igbo, don't matter. All of them. The willingness of the people to come together can be said to depend largely on their education. Education which can be defined as a deliberate system of culture promotion, of course instigation by which a person is forged to fit squarely into the society to which he or she belongs as a responsible citizen. In ancient times, even before schools existed, the purpose of education was to train members of a community in fundamental skills, approved beliefs, habits, customs, group traditions, and religion peculiar to a community, skills of defense from perceived enemies, farming and shelter, which is in architecture, were included in education of youths of a group through their parents before the institutions of formal schools came into existence. Folklore, proverbs, folk songs, and oral traditions were powerful vehicles by which parents of ancient times conveyed and instilled education in their children. In a broad sense, everything that is acquired in life, in a lifetime, your habits, knowledge, skills, interests, attitudes, personality, language, not merely by attending schools, but by the totality of your life experience. That's what education is. Not just the formal stuff, but life experiences forged by your parents. In other words, education concerns itself with all the capabilities and habits acquired by a person as a member of a society, making education simply cultural promotion within a given community of human beings. The culture of a nation or a race is defined as the customs, information, and skills, domestic and public, in peace or in war, religion, science, art, manifest in the transmission of past experiences to the new generations. Culture stems from every component of human existence as a means by which a person adjusts to a given environment and expresses his or herself as, as not learned by individual experience, but socially, as tradition which is handed down with language as the most important means of social transmission of culture. Culture is non-genetic. All that therefore which is non-biological but socially transmitted, including the customs, history, arts, dances, philosophies, proverbs, religion, folk songs, folklore, parables, language, military techniques, agricultural methods, architecture, and the political and economic systems of a culture. Finally, while culture is no substitute for life, it is the key to life. So that had we, all these years, if we had just stopped beating about the bush of religion and politics in a wild goose chase of national and international unity, and set our problem of unity upon the broad base of culture, we would have found in culture the key to the solution of our problems of unity. For in the cultural evaluation of all the different human ethnic groups in the world, we would have had enough identical points in the personality and customs, history, language, social attitudes, habits, and traditional religions and socio-economic philosophies of various ethnic and racial groups to convince that there are more cultural facts that should unite us than there are factors that differentiate us from one another on this paradise called Earth. For instance, the Nkomi teaches that ancient human societies had spiritual teachings that supported and sustained primordial traditional life. The similarities in the narration in the Nkomi to the teachings and renditions of the recent religions of the book show an intercultural relationship between them. At that point, from a religious perspective, the foundation of most world religion is derived from the same source, and Dibia Chiedozie made that point in his presentation. We're all doing the same thing. And like you mentioned, okay, Dibia, Chiedozie also mentioned it. This, considering people of African ancestry as less than human, is what's responsible for the reason why they don't want to take the time out to learn how to pronounce your name, to learn anything about you. It's disrespect from the time that they showed up on our shores with the Bible and Quran in tow. The disrespect has always been there. But the source foundation of human spirituality came from Africa. Maybe that's the reason why. Maybe that's the reason why there's so much hatred for people of African ancestry. Maybe it's the resources we have. Maybe it's the belief, like I always said it. It was the African that gave the world a conscience and taught the world the difference between right and wrong. Perhaps this disrespect comes from the fact that everything that is them came from us. And I think that that's a point that we, as people of African ancestry, really have to pay attention to. Learn your history. Understand this name. Understand what they mean. Understand the commonalities between all human groups, between all ethnic groups, between all races. Understanding the difference between a cat, a lion, a tiger, a leopard, an ocelot, a house cat. What do they have in common? They're all cats. There's no point feeling that your name is inferior. There's no point anybody thinking that you're inferior to them based on your name. Keep your name. That's your identity.
That's right.
That's what tells everybody who and what you are and where you come from. Once you lose that, you lose everything.
And Yudi.
Yeah.
Somebody said it here. Let me see. Akachi said, yes, white people, I think, respect us better for it. When we respect ourselves and hold on to our name, they respect you. You know, when you speak, when I was in college, I lived in the dormitory, and I'll get that somebody will call my name because I have a visitor, I have a phone call, and they'll say, oh, awa, anyawa, anyawa. And I'm like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
So they just keep saying Anya, and I, you know, because it doesn't sound like my name, I wouldn't bother to go down. And then they'll see me and say, well, you know, we kept calling you to let you know you had a call. You missed a call. I said, I didn't hear my name. He said, aren't you Awa Anyawa? I said, no, I don't know who that is. My name is Uwa Onyoha. I had to break it down for her. I said, when you saying Anya, Awana, whatever the heck you were saying, I didn't know you were calling me. That's not my name. Oh, well, you know, I can't say, well, let me break it down for you. And I broke it down. This is how you say, Uwa Onyoha. And I sat there and she learned it. So the next time I heard it, it was no longer Awa Anyawa, it was Uwa Onyoha. You know, but sometimes we have that responsibility. We don't excuse it. And I'm glad that DBS said that, and you said it too. You don't excuse disrespect. Because when people cannot pronounce your name, they can pronounce an Indian name. They can pronounce a Chinese name, but they can't pronounce yours. Even UD will be UD. No, UD. You there? I mean, you go up and down. But you don't say okay. But you never say, okay, well, I'll accept that. No, don't accept. And sometimes they don't know. It becomes your responsibility. You don't get mad at them for not, you know, if they pronounce it the first time, they didn't pronounce it properly, and you accept it, then it becomes acceptable to them. You know, because it doesn't matter. Oh, they'll give you Stella. And then they can pronounce that, and you yourself, good. Well, you know, Stella sounds cool. I'll answer that. You know, you never answer the name someone else gave you. The name that you answer is the one your ancestors gave you, your father, your mother. That's the one, no matter what, no matter if they can pronounce it or not pronounce it, if they can't pronounce it, your responsibility is to be the educator. Educate them. Let them know. And people do respect you. People respect. I make a lot of presentations. And when I make my presentations in the community, I always slide in Igbo proverbs. Whether they understand it or not, they say, wow, you know, it sounds so good what you said. I can't say it, but it sounds good. Yeah, because what my people think is important. I want you to know that we have thoughts too. Yeah. You know, we have proverbs, we have value system, and the proverbs are part of our values. And I'm not ashamed to say who I am or use my language or introduce my culture to the world, because if I don't do that, they don't know. And if I don't insist they know, you know, they can quite easily disrespect me. So it's really very important that us as Africans, no matter where we're from, that we continue to give our children. If you're Ghanaian, give your child Ghanaian name. If you're all my children have Igbo middle names: Kelena Omane, Adora Ngozi, Nnamdi Onyoha. Because if they don't like the first one, they can pick the second, but it will be Igbo. I don't give you a choice. Now, I mean, you know, if I give you 3 names, it's all Igbo names. If you don't like the first 2, take the take the third. But that's your identity, and I don't want you to lose it.
I just want to say something right quick.
Go ahead.
Think about this scenario. Ngozi, blessing. Ngozi means blessing. But this girl changed her name from Ngozi without being flogged to blessing, even though they mean the same thing. But in her mind, she's more acceptable, not just to the European, but even to her own people, if her name was blessing instead of Ngozi, even though it's the same thing. Yes. So these foreign names, they just breed this inferiority complex. And meanwhile, nobody from any other cultural persuasion is trying to be you in terms of changing their name. They might want to get a suntan and get a dark skin, or get your skin a little darker, maybe even wear your clothes and all that kind of stuff. But there ain't a whole lot of them lined up to change their names. No. Because you can wear clothes and all you want to, but your clothes does not identify who you are. Yes. Because an Indian can wear Nigerian clothes. Yes. The Chinese can do the same thing. But your name, that's it. I mean, that's your identity right there. Right. And like, Dibachi had mentioned, there's so many reasons behind the way we name, right? But for the most part, it has to do with creation. And everything that is part of that creation, from Chineke to the bacteria, everything that has to do with nature, creation, you can find in culturally relevant names. Same thing they do it. The same thing. Nothing different. It's just that we have to understand that. We have to rebuild our mind, maybe using these kinds of platform for us to understand, like I had read this lengthy deal over here. We're all doing the same thing, but we're just doing it from our own cultural perspective. Yes. The sin is in trying to be somebody else. Yeah. Now you're going to change your name, you're going to wear their clothes. Even some of us bleach our skin. I mean, before you know it, you disappear. And if we continue with the European names and all that, at some point, just like in any other diasporan African community, where the Africans there have the names given to them by the enslavers. I could never tell where anybody from Jamaica comes from. But if he had told me that their name was maybe Yakubu Yaradua or something, I would know. Maybe if you said my name is Chidozie, Nwabwoso or something, I would know, or Kofi. But you see somebody in Haiti, you ask him, what's your name? He said, Francois Mitterrand. Well, we all lost together. First, I can't tell you where you come from. I just know you're black. Are you from Africa? But I can't align you with any tribe or community or anything like that. So I have the same problem you have with your identity. So to be able to mitigate that, we have to have this understanding that the source fountain is the same. Whether it's Allah, Chineke, Jehovah, whatever the creator, Ubangiji, Giami, whatever the creator's name is the same source fountain. We're not doing anything different. The only difference is our geographic location, which is responsible for our cultural experiences, or the culture that we develop is really has a direct relationship with where we're located. Yeah. And to be able to mitigate our environment, we develop systems, cultures, stuff like that, to be able to live. So for me, to make a long story short, we really have to have a clear understanding that we're not doing anything that nobody else is doing. We just have to understand that, respect what they do, and insist that they respect us. Mm-hmm. And that's right. Respect, man, you better fight for it.
That's right. Thank you for saying that. When people disrespect you or reject you, you don't reject yourself. You don't. It becomes your fault then. When you reject yourself, then it becomes your fault if others reject you, because you're supposed to stand up for who you are. I want to ask you this, and I want you to go as far as you can with this particular question I'm going to ask you. You know, first of all, I think that the part of the problem that we have is that a lot of our people don't even understand the significance of the names, you know. But my question to you is, how does understanding the significance of names improve cross-cultural communication and appreciation? How does that work? Go ahead.
I think it goes beyond understanding the names. It goes, it starts with understanding the significance of your language. Because that language is a vehicle of thought, is a vehicle of consciousness, is a vehicle of wisdom. How rich your language is and how you promote it determine how developed you are. And that language must sit within a culture. And if you don't have a culture, you don't have a mind. If you don't have language, you don't have a mind. Because it's only a mind that is conscious that can have language. That's why language must be situated within a culture. Names are fundamental, primary to language. Because they define the culture, they define the mind and the mindset. So once you don't have a language, you don't have a culture. If you don't have a culture, you don't have a mind, and you don't have a mindset. Because the mind is individual, the mindset is social. And so what we are suffering today as Africans is that individually, we don't have a mindset that is cultural, and so we don't have a mind that is cultural. And because of that, we don't even understand our right from our left. And remember how people say,
Yes.
You don't know when the rain began to beat you. How would you know how to rescue yourself from the rain?
Yes.
The rain now is not a physical rain. It's exactly the situation we find ourselves in, the circumstance that we did not create. However, we have to use our tongue to count our feet. Because if you can identify exactly where your problem began and you are honest to yourself, you have self-truth to yourself, you tell yourself the truth. You look yourself in the mental mirror and your image appears to you. You are not ashamed of who you are. And you call yourself, I've been stupid. And I'm stupid. Henceforth, I will stop being stupid. That is self-realization. That's where it begins. And then you will now begin to join in back to your culture so that you can have a mind and a mindset. And another thing is that we are always cajoled to believe that our ancestors are bad, our mothers and fathers in the village are witches and wizards, they are ready to kill us. If we touch body with them, it will be bad luck forever. I remember my first experience when I went to truth initiation. And when I was missing for a whole 2 days or whole week in the department, I took excuse. When I came back, I said, where did I go? I said, I went to do research with some DBS and Babalawos. He said, hey, you mean your body touched them? I said, Even the woman I live with at home said, hey, now you are back. Can I still touch you? Are you still a human being? Are you a spirit? Can you and I still do the normal things? Maki wuzo karama de karamu. Now half human and half spirit. So, and they believe that I will die very soon. Meanwhile, because I've gone for that, do that. So meanwhile, what I encountered there is a whole of experience of why our ancestors lived long.
Yeah.
Because to be a dibia is to live by the principles of moderation, complete virtue, all-round virtue.
Yeah.
There is no forgiveness. You must project and calculate and imagine your life even before you take the first step.
Yeah.
Ignorance is no excuse.
Yes.
And I remember late Professor Momo told me, he looked at me and said, "Child," I said, "Sir, I learned you went to take initiation to become a dibia, a babalawo." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Now you have followed the path of discipline and do not derail. You will live long, my child." And instead of the curses and spells that people think that cast on you when you go there, I was there and the elders were saying, our son. So you didn't say you're a doctor. You read plenty books. You will not identify with us. You are sitting with us. You are dipping your hand into the same bowl that we eat. You are not afraid of germs from our mouth. You are drinking for the same cup with us. You are sleeping in the same place with us. See, in that your University of Lagos, anybody that looks bad eye, we will kill that. I said, Biko, Nebula. I said, bless them, don't kill them. They said, no, anybody that's as much as scratches you is gone. We will protect you to the end. And then they said, of all, people come for wife, for riches, for power. But you came for knowledge. We will protect you to the last. So they are waiting. The ancestors are waiting. Yes. They are waiting our coming back. And like my madam in the home used to say, this is your idea. When will it start? I said, only you are different. Others are doing African studies. They are going abroad. They are eating dollars. I said, well, I will not eat dollars.
Eating dollars.
I will not eat dollars and spend my prestige. The Indians came here. They sent some Nigerians to come and start converting me, thinking, and gave me incense to burn. As soon as they gave me the incense and I hold it, I don't feel the right vibration. I push it into one of the cupboards. Any other day, maybe 90 days later, or 120 days later, I counter it. The thing has spoiled. I throw it away. They brought several cassock, Indian cassock that I have made prayer on. I will hold it, feel it. Once I don't get the right vibration, I put it somewhere. Maybe 2 years later, I remember, I'll throw it, burn it. And then the final one, they came. And they are ready to support me, give me dollars. You can imagine Indians give you dollars. If they give you one dime, they would extract 1 trillion from you. I should be teaching Bhagavad Gita. Of course, I had Bhagavad Gita, all the Indian books that are here. Bhagavad Gita, Indian mystery sister, they were happy. They've seen a convert. I am interested in what I will gain from there to enrich my own. I go get to the dialectics. I'm not interested in losing myself to India. They are taking me to India. So I don't know what happened. The man that was organizing that I should come to India died mysteriously. Another one came and he came here. They came to convert me. I showed them the door. As soon as they died, I said, okay, see you. From today, like the Chinese man will say, they don't speak plenty English, but the action is there. Me, you, cut, walk, finish. So I will not compromise my identity for anything. And whether you like it or not, the time has come. That's why I'm speaking on this platform. And this platform will grow. It will grow like no hand can cover the moon. This platform and chism will be the moon that beams in the night. Forever, for all.
Yeah.
That's it. Chikadibia.
Yes.
God is greater than any power on earth. The star of chism will twinkle for the whole world to see.
Yes.
The time has come. There's no going back. So those of you who are lacking behind, join. If you don't join, like I used to tell my woman, only me go they enjoy the blessing of the ancestors and their protection.
Yeah.
Yes.
My name here
Yes.
now has become Atakata Abuo. You cannot do anything to him. They say they have taken me to places, court here and there. This man, will they pursue you? Will they choke you here? You are even not scratched. You are not perturbed. I said, no, answer. Only me now. They enjoy the blessing of the ancestors. So what we have.
He said, listen, I want to make this comment to those who are watching us today. Please understand, at the end of every show, if you go to YouTube, you're going to notice that the comments that you're making is not showing up. So you may think, and when people come, they may think that, well, nobody is having conversations about our videos. It's just that they all show up on StreamYard. They're not showing up on YouTube. Okay. Because we're not filming directly from YouTube. We're not on YouTube directly. So it's important that you know that, so that you're not thinking, for those who are new, who are just venturing into this forum, that nobody's having conversation. We're having tons and tons of conversations here. What I can recommend to you, if you don't mind, is copy some of the comments that you made personally. All right. At the end of the show, post it on YouTube against this show, so that all of that will filter through. So every comment that you're making, we appreciate it, but you can copy it. At the end of the show, just go to YouTube and post it, so that, because as soon as the show ends, then all those comments that you're making disappear. They don't disappear on StreamYard. They're all there, but on YouTube, they're not. Okay, they can see it on the chat. Let's see. Let me see what Akachi is saying. I think they can see it in the chat on YouTube on the playback too. I reposted too. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. I just noticed that all the comments are not showing up after the show ends, but we can go back and for you, Dibia Children, Dibia UD, whatever comments you want to make after every show, it's important to go back there and make whatever comments you want to make. Now, it is time for us to take questions from our audience. There's one question. Akachi again is asking this question, and Dibia, since you're the guest host today, answer this question for her. I mean, Judy and I will have our own comments about it, but answer it though. She's asking, what is your recommendation for those born in the diaspora under Western names, Haiti, USA, Jamaica, etc.? Why might they consider changing their name? Your thoughts on that?
Well, straightforwardly, there is, we like to adopt ephemeral ways to our solution, window dressing.
Yes.
One thing we do here is that we invite people from diaspora, come here, we give them local names, and then we brand them, we take them, we give some people name Adobe, some we say Ashake and all that. For me, I think we should do more than that. We should start with African studies in Africa. African studies must go and focus on our spirituality and begin to dig up what is lost about Africa. We should stop chasing after dollars. And so we should use African studies and our culture to welcome back those Africans in the diaspora. Like Peter McIntosh sang, wherever you come from, as long as you're a black man, you have the identity of the black man. You're an African, you're a black man. So we should go beyond the color identity to our spirituality, because that's what is missing in our Pan-Africanism. That's why Pan-Africanism has not brought us together, because we are communicating on the language, on the mindset of the colonizer. And there's no way you are going to use the foundation that undid us to rebuild us. It doesn't happen that way. You have to find your own platform. For those who read the Bible and they don't understand the message of Moses pulling off the shoe before the burning bush was not a physical pulling of the shoe. It was that Moses was at a crossroad. Should he remain within the Egyptian principality, in the royalty of Egyptian royal toga and their shoes? Should he seek and declare himself who he is? I am that I am. I am Igbo. For Moses, he was a Jew. So he decided to call himself a Jew. He took off the shoes, the royal regalia of Pharaoh, so that he becomes who he was. I am that I am. We must first of all do that. So for those in Jamaica, those in Haiti, you must go beyond coming to Africa to take names. You must locate those villages. And I'll say, don't locate yourself within colonial created states, Nigeria, Ghana. These are states created, what they call the new state. States created to control us. You must locate, because when you were taken to slavery, there were no Nigeria, there was no Ghana, there was no that. What you had were Igbo communities, Yoruba communities, Akan communities, Ashanti communities, communities in Africa. Locate your community. When you locate your community, locate the soul, the nucleus of your community, the spirituality. Identify with your spirituality. Become a member of that spirituality. Once you become a member of that spirituality, nobody can cheat you anymore. Because that's what I do. Once you come to Africa and you are floating the surface, Africans will cheat you. But if they discover that you have located the source of your spirituality and you are a member, nobody plays with you anymore. He says, don't go there. They will punish you. That's what you fear. That's what we have psychic connect with. So we must go back to our spirituality and identify with it, both holistically, in terms of the name, in terms of the spirituality, and the community from which we were taken. DNA can help us with all of these. So we must use all available avenue to trace ourselves in total, holistically. Thank you.
Thank you. UD, you have any you want to add to that?
Yeah. In the beginning, I explained that education is defined as a deliberate system of culture, promotion, or cause instigation by which a person is forced to fit squarely into the community that he or she really belongs to, right?
Yes.
It's just a question of where are you in your personal life anyway? You know, with the slavery question, African history, religion, spirituality. I mean, where are you? I mean, are you beyond a point of no return? Are you gone? Is something swirling around in your head? Are the events milling around you? Is the world sending some signal to your mind that it's time to wake up? Because I think where we are right now in the world today, it's a beautiful thing, as far as I'm concerned. Now, a lot of people are going to get hurt, but sometimes you got to tear things down to build it back up.
Yeah.
We've been torn down for a long time. It's time to build back up. Burkina Faso will tell you. It's time to come back up. The events in the world right now is a crying call for all of us to wake up. Because waking up entails a lot of stuff. It entails religion. It entails science. It entails history, geography. It entails every aspect of human endeavor, of which we, of people of African ancestry, made probably 70% of all scientific discovery, modern scientific discovery, was by people of African ancestry. And a lot of them from African Americans. A lot of Africans in the mainland. I know a few Nigerian scientists. One is Philip M. Agwale. The internet would not be possible without him. This idea that you're inferior to somebody else because they defined you that way with their religion, not with their bow and arrow, with their muskets, their guns, with their violence. So we're lost today. Today we don't understand that the name blessing is the same thing as Ngozi. And that if we just kept our primordial name, Ngozi, as opposed to blessing, then we have held on to a little bit of who we are. we've held on to, a little bit of our respect. See, we don't understand how disrespectful we are to ourselves when we show up out here in the world with an English name. And that name was not given to you the way Kunta Kinte got the name Toby. You voluntarily, because of your complex of inferiority, the way you were socialized from your great-grandparents who were forced into all manner of dislocating philosophies and religions and everything that has nothing to do with us. Where are we right now in our mindset, in our lives, to understand the importance of cultural identity? And that for the most part, your identity, before anybody even makes any judgment about your character, who you are, your identity is your name. Nobody looks at you, walks up to you and say, are you a thief? Are you a doctor? Are you a lawyer? They walk up and say, my name is Michael Edwards. What's your name? To understand people, that's the first thing that happens. It's an introduction. Yes. And usually that introduction carries your identity. Because if you walk up to a person as a black man or black woman and you give him some slave name, yeah, it's easy for them to say it. But I can guarantee you, in their minds, whatever respect you have is gone. Listen, nobody ever thought that a man from Africa with the name Barack Hussein Obama will be president of the United States. But his name identified who he was.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever it might be.
Yes.
Now, don't get me wrong now, Hussein is not Ugandan. Is Arabic. The point I'm making is that somebody in the United States with a name like Barack Hussein Obama became president, not just because he was a smart, good-looking man, but because the identity, the uniqueness of that name.
And he was not ashamed of it. He was not ashamed of it. He was not ashamed of it.
It was like a drug in the American public. It was like a drug. Every person I know in this world will respect you if you respect yourself and you could back up that respect with your profession, the way you see the world, your worldview, the way you carry yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody cares what your name sounds like. They will say your name, learn how to say it, and back you up if you back yourself up.
That's right.
Respect yourself a little bit and insist that you are what you are by the grace of God. And if you don't like it, let the door hit you.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
just the way
you.
it is, because they're doing the same thing to you.
That's right.
They're not compromising. The China man ain't compromising with you. The Japanese doesn't compromise their culture and their identity. The Indian doesn't. Not their religion either. The European doesn't. The only people that seem to compromise their identity are those that accepted a foreign religion. Now let's just say it like it is. And it is this acceptance, whether it's voluntarily or involuntarily, that is what is responsible for you changing your name from Blessing to Yagazie, even though both names are the same.
The great Namdi. Well said, UD, rather. There's a comment made here that I don't want us to miss this comment from Kwame. He says, it's not Asante, it's Asante, not Ashante. The English could not pronounce the word properly, so they put the H in Asante to suit themselves. The bottom line is just that, what he just said. If they don't say it properly, they will create a whole new name so they can say it properly, but the challenge is for you not to embrace the new introduction of your name and just correct them and let them know there's no H in Asante. There's no H. It's Asante, not Ashante. Okay, so it's very, very important that we pay attention to even how people pronounce our names. If they don't say it correctly, then correct it. Don't get mad about it. They may not know, or they probably just don't care to go to do it the right way. So it becomes your responsibility to correct that. You have 1 minute to say what you have to say, because I have another question
Yeah,
here.
it was just same thing we're talking about the Ashanti and the Asante. This came to my mind: the difference between voodoo and voodoo, and how this mispronunciation can lead to a different narrative. Because voodoo is not voodoo. When people look at voodoo as voodoo, because the corruption, not understanding what voodoo and how to say it and what it's all about, voodoo gave birth to Hollywood and the misconception that these people are devil worshippers or whatever. It's all about magic and all that, and don't see the aesthetics and all the aspects of voodoo.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. So the point I'm making is people will define you, create narratives if you let them.
That's right.
And one way to insist upon making sure that the right story is being told is to make somebody call you exactly who and what you want.
Yes, African voodoo, not European voodoo. Yep. Very well said, Yudi, and certainly Akachi is concurring. I just want to add this this little comment that One Piece Speed said. You can't just change somebody's name like it's God. You can't just change it and add, you know, and add what you want to add to make it sound better for you. You know, you just can't do that, and we shouldn't allow that. And I want to just say to everyone, let's remember, wherever you are, this is not about knocking anybody's religion and names and all that stuff. That's not what we're here for. That's not what this show is about. This show is to remind you that you do have a name, you do have values, you do have a system of naming your children something that will follow them for the rest of their lives. Don't give it up because somebody can't pronounce it. Don't give it up because you want to fit in. We're not talking about what other people are not doing. We're talking about what you're doing as well. It's important that you know who you are, what your worth is, and you promote that. That is your responsibility. That is your charge. You can quite frankly do the right thing or continue to be abused. You know, people will not do. You can't talk about what people are doing to you when you continue to what do you say? When you continue to allow it to be done to you. It's your responsibility. Today, UD unfortunately has a headache, and I'm surprised that he was able to go this far. So thank you, UD, for staying with us for the rest of the show. But let me just give a summary of what we heard from Dibia Chedozie and what we heard from Dibia UD. And what you heard from me. We have explored the intricate relationship between names and identity with Igbo culture. We focused on Igbo culture today, but that's not to say that other cultures don't give names based on their own experiences and their own values and what have you. But we discussed the implications of naming practices, the importance of cultural heritage. We've given so much away. We should not continue to give it. Let it not become generational because we continue to just, you know, give our children foreign names, and they too will give their children foreign names, etc., etc. And in so doing, somehow the culture is lost. Okay, so let us remember that the names that we give our children shape their lives trajectory. You know, so what we're trying to tell you today is think about the name you're given. There are different African names you can give your children, and stop thinking it's wrong to give them African names because they live in America or they live in Haiti or Jamaica. They should have English names. Not necessarily. If you choose to give English names, do it for not because yours is bad. For whatever your reasons are, that's your reasons. But the important thing that we want you to know is that it's a little bit more, not a little bit, a whole lot more constructive when you give your child a name that they can use to guide their own values, that connect with their culture, connect with their people, their lineage. That is so important. Where do you find these names? There's so many African names. It's not just Igbo. There's Ghanaian, there's Rwandan, etc., etc. You can find those. you know, and most importantly, if you have done your DNA testing and it tells you what part of Africa that you're from, then generations to come, let them identify with that part of Africa that you've discovered that you're part of. Give them names from that area. You know, it's just the right thing to do. I thank you for joining us as we gained insight from Professor Chiedozie Okoro. Thank you so much. You provided deeper understanding of this vital aspect of African culture. And thank you, Dibia Yudi, for your valuable contribution to today's discussion. Please, if you have not subscribed to our channel, do so. Until next time, I'd like to stay tuned to the voice of Chineke speaking and guiding. All you need to do is pay attention. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for all your contributions. Thank you for everything that you have contributed to make this one of our better shows. I really, truly enjoyed this show. Thank you so much. I know I do want to name names. Akachi, thank you for your contribution. One piece speed, more life. Yes, that's what he says. Thank you very much for joining us. Akachi says thank you, KDBia. Get well, Dibia Chuaja UD. JVST, thank you. You just joined us. Thank you so very much for being here. Sovereign, thank you for being here. Namdi, DOCC, thank you for being here. Mecca, thank you for being here. All of you who joined us today, you guys you're a phenomenal part of our Chiism family. Thank you, Yudi. Thank you, Dibia Chedozie. Dibia Chedozie, thank you so much, you guys. I love you.
So happy to see
you. I just want to leave us with this. Your name is your brand. Sell your brand.
Oh, there you go.
That's it.
That's it right there. Your name is your brand.
Yes.
Sell your brand.
Yes, I love that.
I mean, you couldn't have concluded any better than that. Your name is your brand. Remember that.
I'm going to use that.
Sell your brand. What does it mean to sell your brand? If they can't say your brand properly, you tell them what it is. Even if you have to explain to them the reason why you have this name. So I don't want you to play with my name, right? This is my brand. I love it. I love it. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you next week in 2 weeks on Chiism Live. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Yagazie.
Yagazie.